Ще говоря, така че моля всички от тук, ако може, ако има как. Да. Мгм.
Good morning to everyone. Thank you for joining us today. I am Alexandros Triantafylidis, speaking from Aristotle University of Thessaloniki, and I'm very happy to welcome you to this webinar. Today, we want to talk about how we can raise awareness and how we can prepare European institutions on hosting scholars at risk. We want to share good practices, discuss possible challenges, and find appropriate administrative answers. It's very, very important because we are joined here by excellent colleagues that are helping us, and we're working together at the Inspire Europe Plus project. Sarah Field, Lucia Sims, and of course, Svetlana Dimitrieva from Bulgaria is also here with us. Before we start, I want to thank you all for expressing the interest to be with us in this webinar. This is something that we have been organizing in Aristotle University through the Inspire Europe project and with the help of Cara. I want to just introduce you to the purpose of this webinar. As a purpose of Aristotle University, we want to share the message in Southeastern Europe. We have been working on that for the past years, quite a lot of years. And I think it's very, very important as the years pass that Southern and Eastern universities in the Balkans and beyond are more sensitized to the issues of supporting scholars at risk. We are very happy by the registration from different countries such as Romania, Kosovo, Albania, Czech Republic, and even some Greek universities as well. We welcome you all. There's a lot of things to say. Supporting scholars at risk was a thing that was happening mostly in Central and Western Europe by big universities and big higher education establishments. We are very, very happy that this is changing. So this is why we thought that we would like to give you this introductory webinar, to give you this information today. We're going to have a 1 hour of discussing about these issues, but there's more to come. Stay with us in the next in this next hour as we give you important information. As I said, we are joined by three excellent colleagues. We have Sarah Field, who is a policy program manager for the Inspire Europe project. So she's a coordinator for that. Svetlana Dimitriova, who is a project manager from Sofia University, St. Clement Ochtrisky, and from Euraccess, Bulgaria. And there's Lucia Sims, who's a CARA team leader, active fellows and program manager, and of course, a partner of Inspire Europe project. So welcome all of you ladies. I'm very happy that you're here with us. We will have the first talks initially. As we have these talks, you are welcome, everyone is welcome to put their questions in the Q&A section. We will collect these questions and then we will answer them at the end of the talks. Feel free to pose your questions, and of course, we will discuss them as I said. So first of all, I would like to invite Sarah Field to give us her talk on SAR Europe and the Inspire Europe Plus project. As I said, Sarah Field is the policy program and program management in the Scholars at Risk Europe, leading the Inspire Europe Plus project. Sarah has a background in law and human rights, and she previously worked on the MSCA for Ukraine Fellowship Scheme, where she supported the overall implementation of the project and organized career development opportunities for MSCA for Ukraine Fellows and researchers from Ukraine. Sarah, welcome, and we are here to listen to your talk and your presentation.
Thank you very much, Alexandros. I will just share my screen and my presentation. So can you see my screen?
Not yet.
And now?
Oh, why?
No? Okay. Maybe try.
I think. Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Yes,
Great.
it's full
Thank
screen
you.
now. Perfect.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you again, Alexandros, and I just want to welcome everyone to the webinar this morning on behalf of SAR Europe, which is the coordinator of the Inspire Europe Plus project. I hope that you find today's event a very informative and useful webinar. So to start us off, I'm going to give a brief presentation on Scholars at Risk Europe and a brief overview of the Inspire Europe Plus project, which provides the framework for today's discussion. So Scholars at Risk is an international network of higher education institutions and associations whose mission is to protect threatened scholars and to promote academic freedom. We are a membership-led organization. We have over 600 members in more than 40 countries worldwide. The Scholars at Risk headquarters is based in New York, but we have 16 SAR sections across the world. So these are regionally or nationally focused groups of higher education institutions, academics, and others who come together to work to promote academic freedom and protect threatened scholars. And SAR Greece is an excellent example of a SAR section, of course, coordinated by the Aristotle University Thessaloniki, who is hosting this morning's webinar. But we have many other sections throughout Europe and beyond. So SAR Europe then is the European office of the Global Scholars at Risk Network. We are based in Maynooth University in Ireland, And our role is to support and coordinate the activities of the Scholars at Risk national sections and partner networks throughout Europe to strengthen our collective voice at the European level and also to contribute to informed policy making for the greater protection of scholars and increased respect for academic freedom worldwide. So you might be wondering, why is there a need for an organisation like Scholars at Risk to exist? Well, unfortunately, the right to academic freedom is continuing to come under attack and to decline across the world. Since 2011, Scholars at Risk has been documenting severe attacks on researchers, scholars, and students and higher education communities, implicating tens of thousands of victims in over 100 countries. Our most recent report, Free to Think 2024, documents 391 attacks on students, scholars, and institutions in 51 countries and territories between July 2023 and June 2024. And that report is available on the Scholars at Risk website. The Academic Freedom Index is another monitor of attacks on academic freedom and levels of de facto academic freedom across the world, which has been operating since 2020. And that shows that overall, fewer than half of the world's population lives in countries where academic freedom is generally respected, with the most recent data showing countries in decline outnumbering those improving by more than 2 to 1. And unfortunately, due to limited data and monitoring resources, these figures actually only represent a tiny fraction of the overall number of attacks. So the global picture of violations of academic freedom is still incomplete. So why are scholars targeted? Well, we at Scholars at Risk have identified 3 primary reasons why scholars can come under attack. One is because of the content of their work, research, or teaching. It can be perceived as threatening by authorities or other groups. Scholars can also be threatened because of their status, so because of their education, frequent travel, professional standing. Academics are often prominent members of their communities and can become a target in that way. Scholars can also be threatened because of their exercise of fundamental human rights, especially the freedom of expression. And in addition, threats against scholars can be compounded during situations of internal armed conflict and civil or international wars. So what is SAR Europe doing to respond to these attacks, to promote academic freedom and to protect threatened scholars? Well, we have a number of specific programs that we run from our European office. Inspire Europe is, of course, the project which forms the framework for today's discussion. The original Inspire Europe project ran from 2019 to 2022, and that created a Europe-wide alliance of organizations working together to support researchers at risk across Europe. The Inspire Europe Plus project builds on that significant foundation laid by the original project and continues to coordinate and strengthen support for researchers at risk across Europe. And I'll say more about the Inspire Europe Plus project specifically in a moment. But I also then just want to give you a brief overview of some of the other projects and activities that SAR Europe runs. So we are also the coordinator of the MSCA for Ukraine scheme, which is an EU-funded fellowship scheme designed to support researchers who were forced to flee Ukraine in the wake of Russia's full-scale invasion of the country. The support offered to Ukrainian researchers enables them to continue their work at academic and non-academic institutions across Europe while maintaining their connections to research and innovation communities in Ukraine. So the scheme launched a second call for applications in August of last year. That call is currently closed, and the team are progressing through the second stage of evaluation of applications with results expected in March. And with that second call and additional funding from the European Commission, the MSCA for Ukraine team hope to fund an additional around 50 fellowships for Ukrainian researchers. SAR Europe also convenes the European Advocacy Committee to contribute to informed and evidence-based policy decision-making and in Europe on academic freedom, higher education values, and also support for at-risk researchers. So examples of the types of advocacy work that we've engaged in include participating in the Council of Europe's Academic Freedom in Action project, membership of the European Parliament Sounding Board on academic freedom, and also development of the principles to implement academic freedom at UN level. So I'll now take you through the Inspire Europe Plus project in more detail. So the aim, as I said, of the Inspire Europe Plus project is to coordinate and strengthen support for researchers at risk across Europe. The project proceeds from the view that excellence in research depends upon open and free scientific debate and requires a diversity and multiplicity of perspectives and methodologies to flourish. So we believe that where researchers are threatened and excluded from participating in the global research circuit, whether that is due to persecution, violence, intimidation, or disaster, that not only are individual lives and careers at stake, but also the very future of research is at stake. And at the same time, the skills and attributes of researchers at risk carry significant research potential for hosting countries in Europe. And so the Inspire Europe Plus project brings together researchers at risk and those who are experienced in supporting them to ensure that that research potential is realized on a Europe-wide scale. So Inspire Europe Plus stands for the initiative to support, promote, and integrate researchers at risk. The project will run until August of this year. As I mentioned, it is coordinated by SAR Europe at Maynooth University and is funded by the European Union's Marie Sklodowska-Curie Actions Programme under the Horizon Europe framework. We are very lucky within the consortium to have 6 full project partners and 4 associate partners, and I'll take you through those partners now. So as I mentioned, the project is coordinated by Scholars at Risk Europe, and we work closely in partnership with the PAUSE programme at the Collège de France, the Alexander von Humboldt Foundation, the University of Gothenburg, the European University Association, and of course the Aristotle University Thessaloniki. We also have a number of associate partners, CARA, the Council for At-Risk Academics, a UK-based NGO, which is of course represented in this morning's webinar as well, in addition to the Global Scholars at Risk Network, the Scholar Rescue Fund, and CRU Spanish University Association. So just to take you through some of the specific actions that Inspire Europe Plus undertakes. So as well as coordinating and improving support for researchers at risk across Europe, we also provide direct career development opportunities for researchers at risk through a series of professional development webinars and workshops. We provide advice and guidance to host institutions across Europe, both academic and non-academic host institutions, to support them and build their capacity to employ and otherwise support researchers at risk. We advise national level initiatives, encouraging the development of new national level programs to support researchers at risk around Europe. We also inform European policy, and we aim to grow and diversify support for researchers at risk by broadening outreach to Central, Eastern and Southern Europe, as we are doing this morning through this webinar, but also through increased engagement to the non-academic sector, to business, civil society and industry, to open up new pathways for researchers at risk, and also sensitize more employers to the challenges and issues that researchers at risk face. So that is a very brief overview of SAR Europe and the Inspire Europe Plus project. Please do connect with us on our website, sareurope.eu, and specifically the Inspire Europe Plus web pages. Follow us on social media and sign up for our newsletter as well. And if you have any specific questions or would like further information about the project, please feel free to contact us at inspireurope@mu.ie. So I'll now stop sharing and hand back to Alexandros.
Thank you very much, Sarah. I cannot stress enough how many good information there is on the SAR Europe site. I invite everyone to check this. There's a lot of excellent webinars that have taken place both in the Inspire Europe and the Inspire Europe Plus project. So there is a lot of information there. Have a look. Okay, thank you. Thank you,
Thank you very
Sarah.
much.
We will move on to Svetlana Dimitrieva. I think that Bulgaria has been one of the countries that have been doing a lot in the past years for the support of scholars at risk. And we couldn't think of anyone better than Svetlana to present the hosting opportunities in Bulgarian institution. Svetlana is a project manager at Sofia University St. Clement Ohridsky, and she coordinates Euraccess Bulgaria and the International Euraccess Science for Refugees Hub. Svetlana, please, now we will share the screen so you can present your talk.
Thank you very much, Alexandros. Thanks to all the Inspire Europe team for inviting me today. And I have a presentation that will be shared by Lucia. Thank you very much for that. And I will ask her to switch from time to time the slides. There are very few. And I would like to also stress that apart from the projects that Sarah mentioned before that are related directly to Scholars at Risk Europe, we also cooperate with the whole team of Inspire Europe, cooperate very well with Euraccess. Many of them are also Euraccess members. This is a huge European network, formal network of the European Commission. And there are contact points based in more than 650 organizations based in Europe. Research organizations or universities, some of them are even NGOs from public sector, and some SMEs as well. So those contact points support career development and mobility of researchers and are the best equipped and knowledgeable and experienced staff that could help researchers at risk when they are settled in their organizations. Also to refugee researchers that arrive in Europe, and to all incoming researchers as a whole, as well the local researchers at the organization in their career development activities. So currently the Euraccess network runs a project that is called Talent, and in cooperation with which we deliver today presentation. And please go to the next slide so that we turn to Bulgaria situation. Generally, hosting opportunities in Bulgaria are not very high. And now I will try to explain why by describing the national research system in Bulgaria. The academic research in Bulgaria is based in two types of organizations. These are universities and institutes of Bulgarian Academy of Science. Currently, we have 51 accredited universities, and in the Bulgarian Academy of Science, there are about 42 scientific institutes and 8 specialized units. Each of those operates as an independent legal entity. However, they are united under central administration at the Bulgarian Academy of Science. So Bulgarian Academy of Science, for instance, as a whole, is part of Euraccess Bulgaria. As of 2021, only 7 universities in Bulgaria have been selected as research universities by the local ministry. For example, the Medical University of Sofia was among those institutions and achieving this status with the maximum score. So if we consider hosting a researcher, we have scholar at risk. We have the opportunity to host him either in those 7 or in any of the institutes of the Bulgarian Academy of Science. Otherwise, in a accredited but still not a research university, this scholar would have no opportunity, no significant opportunity to develop their research, or since many of those researchers are actually mostly university teachers, they will have no opportunity to teach, and I will explain you why in a minute. Now, how the research is funded in this research system? An annual budget from the Bulgarian government that is received in any of those mentioned before. And this funding supports basic operational costs, including salaries and infrastructure maintenance. For the research itself, there are several types of sources. All are competitive research grants. First of all, there is national programs that are provided and run by National Scientific Fund. However, these grants are small. European Union programs, these include operational programs that are managed at the national level. This is main source of funding. International grants like UNESCO and other funding organizations, and important, industrial contracts and commercialization. The significant percentage of above 50% of funding that comes from industrial sector and business sector as a whole comes to the point that if we hire scholar at risk, we accept it in our organization, we have to include them in this system of funding. Otherwise, it's not possible. Please, the next slide. Why it is not possible? It's not impossible, but it's very difficult. There are several main reasons. Funding, as I explained in the previous slide, since there is no internal resources in these public organizations, they are funded only on this scheme that I presented. Policy is the next important by priority difficulty. Not too many research organizations in Bulgaria have internal policy to attract international researchers because the significant research infrastructure is not sufficient. And third reason is the language. If you do a research in Bulgaria, if you do teaching specifically, but also research, it's not possible to live and do it fully everything in English. you need to know the local language to a certain level. The local language is not spoken by many, and on top of everything, it's very difficult to learn. For instance, we accepted very many Ukrainian researchers, and they didn't have almost any problem in finding a job, either in university or in a research institute or in industry or wherever. I personally assisted about 7, although it's not my direct responsibility, but I communicated with those and I personally assisted to find a job, including at Sofia University, for one of them. For what reason? The language is very close. Also, our research system have a similarity that is traditional for Eastern European countries. And what we have at the end, we have to look at the industrial sector. This is a very, very possible solution. However, it is not fast enough for the cases of the scholars at risk. If there is an urgent need to bring the researcher immediately from the situation he or she is in his or her country, then in this case, this is not very fast solution, but still possible one, because the funding that we get from industry for doing research is very high. So please, the next slide. In order to do that, to rely on the industrial sector, we need staff, right? We need staff that will work personally with each researcher that comes. And we also have staff that is prepared for that. This is Eurax's staff. It is enough qualified, it's enough knowledgeable and experienced to do that. But unfortunately, we are all based only preliminary, not only, but preliminary in research organization in universities. We are not in very many contacts with industry, I mean the Eurax staff. And there is a need also to work well with both target groups, the researchers at risk and possible industrial organizations. For instance, to accept those researchers directly in the industrial organization. And also the industrial organization to accept this kind of opportunity. And again, Eurax staff is qualified enough to do that, to communicate, but we are employers of our universities, and actually we are not in an institution that is committed to do this kind of support, to support someone to go and work in another external organization. So building a new specific structure should be economically justified if we do that. Or reconstruct the Eurax staff responsibilities. The next slide, please. And I think this is the last slide. What can we do, however, at the European level? We do have at Euraxis a new structure introduced last year, and it is internal structure within the Euraxis that is allowing us to work in a so-called hubs, Euraxis hubs, in order to support different directions of our services. One of those is actually Science for Refugee Hub. This is one of the initiatives under Euraxis run by European Commission, and the hub itself includes a lot of national coordinators like me, also some experienced Euraccess centers that are based in universities all over Europe. In total, colleagues from 13 countries participate in that hub, and we are able to deal with specific cases, serving a researcher or specific case, solving in cross-border collaboration with another colleagues and with industry. So for now, this is it. From my side, here are my contacts in the last slide. And if you have any further questions or concerns about specific case, just feel free to turn to me. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Svetlana. This is very important for the Euraccess and the Bulgarian level. We will come back after we finish the presentations. Now we will present some information about what's happening in Greece and how we can use the Greek example as well as trying to build a national level initiative at the same time. So let me share my screen. Okay. So let's go directly into the presentation. In Greece, we have been working for many years to build a national level initiative. We started by joining SAR in 2018. I represent AUTH in the Scholars at Risk Network, and I have the honor to be the head of the SAR Greece section, which we organized in 2021. We launched it in 2021 with a commitment of the Ionian University, the University of the Aegean, the University of Thessaly. Through the years, we had more universities joining us: Pandion University, University of Crete, and University of Western Macedonia. We hope to soon welcome University of Ioannina, and we are in talks with another 9 Greek universities out of the 25 higher education establishments that are happening in Greece. It didn't happen, as you see, in one day. It happened because we had the opportunity and the drive and the decision to continue talking at various levels. We start high. We had the honor to talk to the President of the Hellenic Republic, Katerina Sakelaropoulou. We are constantly talking with the rectors of the joining universities, and we are disseminating the information to all the rectors of all universities at the synod that they're having. At least once a year, we're there talking to them. We go to the ministers of education or the vice ministers of education, talking to them about the importance of supporting scholars at risk. We still have a lot of things to do, and we will tell you about that. The most important thing to do is, of course, to find financial support. We have been very, very grateful because we have some funding from the European Union, but this is mostly for networking. We need to find money for financial support of scholars at risk. This is why we're trying to find external resources from funding, either from national or from private funds, or of course, talking to private companies as well. We're happy to say that we have one scholarship in funding from within our money from the university, from the rectorate of Aristotle University. We have applied again and again to the MSCA for Ukraine calls that Sarah presented to you. Ionian University also have a sponsorship for supporting scholars at risk. But of course, the most important thing is that we create a national scholarships fund. This is, of course, what we need to do, and we are talking with the State Scholarships Foundation. But apart from that, we have talked with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, with Ministry of Development and investments with Hellenic Foundation for Research and Innovation, with the Ministry of Education, the Ministry of Immigration, and Welcome Funds. Of course, we always have at the same time an outlook to Europe. We have been talking to European Union universities. We are working with the European University Alliances. Aristotle University belongs to the Epicure University. We also belong to the Utrecht network, so we are member of a task force which is supporting scholars at risk, and we will be doing staff training in March. We are issuing relevant publications, and of course, we are very, very happy that in the past years, we get a lot of feedback from universities in Southeast Europe. We organized in the process of Inspire Europe in October 23, a leadership roundtable where we had vibrant talks and important actions with rectors, vice rectors, and higher level officials from 22 institutions, universities from 12 countries, mostly from Southeast Europe. And of course, we're always here to help newcomer institutions and to give them more advice. On that level, we will continue to do that. As I said, the webinar that we're doing today is just the first step. I will give you more information about the regional outreach workshop that we'll be organizing physically through the Inspire Europe project in Thessaloniki in March, and I will give you more information about that. We are constantly working at the national level through the website of the Ionian University, through talks with different university professors, and of course, we're always talking with the other universities of the SAR Greece section. What is most important, as I said, is that we have to be able to support scholars at risk. So we have organized a welcome guide for hosting scholars at risk. I welcome you to have a look at this welcome guide. Of course, we will share these presentations with all of the participants of the webinar, so you will be able to check the links that we have here. We understood in the process of welcoming a scholar at risk from who was Turkish, but who was resident in Turkey, that there were a lot of problems with visa. So we are in close contact with the Ministry of Migration Policy, and we signed a memorandum of understanding, hoping that it will clarify and ease the movement of scholars at risk from different European countries. We will very, very soon make a call for a scholarship in our based on the money that our rectorate is giving. And as I said, we were just last month talking with the national agency to create a national funding scheme. This is in talks, and of course, we have to discuss that again with the Ministry of Education. Also, we are very, very happy that we are also an associate partner of the SAFE project, which, as you know, is the first step of the European Union to create scholars at risk studentships, scholarships, irrespective of their country of origin. I want to be quick. I want to have time for you to also ask any questions. If there is one thing that we need to remember, I always remember what Robert Quinn, from Executive Director of SAR New York, said at the Scholars at Risk Network meeting in Berlin 2 years ago. We do have to accept the world for what it is. We do have to understand that there is a lot of things that need to be done and a lot of reaction and as regards to what we're doing. But we can do things. Having a bit of money can definitely help you in that direction. We need to think about networking, and we need to knock on that door again and again and again, and it will work at some point. We just need to be persistent. And of course, we need to be able to always give them something, if not funds, which is the most difficult, but at least we need to start with the guidance and the recognition of the situation. In Greece, as you can understand, we have been working for almost 8 years now. It didn't come easily. We have to be patient. But I think the most important thing is that we don't lose hope. We don't give up, and we continue working together, and we're here to help. I will now give the floor to Lucia Sims. Lucia is currently the team leader for the active fellows at CARA, where she has worked for 7 years. And in her current role, she oversees all aspects of the program once fellows are in placements in the UK. Lucia?
Thank you, Alexandros. I'll just share my screen. Can you see that?
Yes,
Yeah.
but not the full screen yet. Yes.
Great, thank you. So thank you to Alexandros for introducing me. I'm Lucia, and I'm the team lead for the Active Fellows team at CARA. So just a brief introduction to CARA and the fellowship program before I get started properly. So CARA was founded in 1933 in response to the Nazis' expulsion of many leading academics from Germany's universities. And over 90 years on, CARA continues to support academics at risk facing discrimination, persecution, suffering, and violence around the world. The CARA Fellowship Program supports academics defined as engaged in teaching, research, or administration at a university, research institute, or equivalent institution. Academics aren't required to hold a PhD, but they must be at immediate risk. We have 135 universities and research institutes in the UK that are part of our network. And we are currently supporting around 160 active fellows plus their families in placements in the UK. So like many other organizations, we face challenges and obstacles in our work. But over the years, we have learned what does and does not work when it comes to hosting academics at risk. So today I will be sharing some of the key lessons that we have learned that allow both the host institution and the fellow to make the most of the opportunity available to them. These lessons are vital in fostering successful placements and ensuring meaningful support for the fellows. Just a small point that I will be referring to academics at risk as fellows, that is what we refer to them as at CARA. So just something to be aware of, that they are interchangeable. So the first key takeaway is the concept of dual mentorship model. So one of the standout practices is the incorporation of both an academic and non-academic mentor for the fellow. So this approach addresses two critical aspects of the fellowship experience. So the first being the academic mentor provides guidance on research, career development, and integration into academic networks, so the academic side of the placement. And then the non-academic mentor focuses on practical and personal aspects, such as navigating university systems, understanding cultural contexts, and emotional support. This structure ensures a holistic support system that caters to both professional and personal needs, enhancing the fellow's ability to thrive in their new environment. And where possible, we encourage the host institution to allocate both an academic and non-academic mentor. And we have found that this model works best during placements. We also understand that often this isn't possible, but we do encourage it where it is possible. A key lesson is the importance of long-term planning and early discussions about post-placement options. So one of the main barriers that prevents fellows from making the most of their placement is this general fear of the future. So often they're concerned about the prospect of having to return home at the end of their placement, when it may still be unsafe for them to do so. And so from the moment fellows arrive, the host institution should initiate conversations about their future. This forward-thinking approach provides clarity. It helps fellows map out potential pathways, whether that be within academia, industry, or any other sector, and includes making fellows aware of visa routes, both in the host country and elsewhere. By integrating long-term planning into the fellowship experience, it helps fellows build confidence and reduce the uncertainty that often accompanies their precarious situations. Another key takeaway from the fellowship program is the importance of having a monitoring and evaluation system. So implementing a system for monitoring academic progress at regular intervals throughout the placement ensures that any issues can be addressed in a timely manner. This can be academic or non-academic issues. And at CARA, what we do is we request quarterly progress reports from both the fellow and their academic supervisor. And we encourage transparency in these reports, which then allows us to offer support if needed to overcome any academic or non-academic issues. For this, we do just use an automated system, so it's not admin heavy. But we do find it is important in providing the necessary support, both for the host institution and for the fellow. The next lesson that we have learned is the importance of family support. So as part of the fellowship program, fellows do bring their families with them to the UK. And so we have found that support for researchers should extend beyond the individual to include their families. In some cases, obviously, their families don't come with them, but in cases where they do, it's really important that family support is considered in addition to the support that is provided for the fellow. Relocating under obviously very challenging circumstances is a shared experience, and families often face, their own set of challenges, which can include adapting to a new culture and community, accessing education for children, and navigating local healthcare systems. They're just to name a few of the issues that family members can face. And often these are overlooked by the host institution. So we found that it's very important to incorporate this into the support that is provided for researchers at risk. So providing family support, whether through counselling, community integration initiatives, or logistical assistance, it can significantly enhance the overall well-being of both the fellow and their loved ones. The final point is language support, whether this be English or German, whichever language is most used both by the host institution and the host country. It's a fundamental tool for connection and success in any setting, particularly within academic settings. And fellows, we've found that fellows should have access to language support programs to help support their placement. So things like tailored language courses focused on academic and professional terminology, conversation clubs to build confidence in informal settings, as well as resources for family members to learn the language as well. We often find that spouses struggle to integrate because they cannot speak English. And so it's really important that support is also provided for family members to ensure that they are also integrated within the community of the host country. Strong language skills also enable the fellows to maximize their academic opportunities, to build social networks, and also to navigate their host community with much greater ease. So just to summarize, the lessons from the CARA fellowship program emphasize the importance of a comprehensive, human-centered approach to hosting researchers at risk by addressing academic, professional, and personal needs, and by extending support to families and considering the long term. We are able to create an environment where fellows are able to truly flourish. The practices don't just benefit the fellow, but they also enrich the host institutions, and they foster a culture of empathy, diversity, and resilience, and most importantly, protect academic freedom. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Lucia. The work that you've been doing also for so many years has been very, very important and very rewarding, I believe. We have some minutes. We have one question from the audience. We welcome also more questions. We do have time for another 2 questions as well. I don't know, Sarah, would you like to to answer Martina Valder's question about do you have any recommendations for researchers who have participated in the MCA for Ukraine program? Any ideas for the continuation, funds, programs, or something like that? Do you have any inside information from EU or any other ideas?
I don't have any inside information, unfortunately. So just to give some context, so MSCA for Ukraine provides fellowships for up to 2 years. So 2 years is the longest duration that fellows can undertake a placement for. With regard to longer term opportunities, I would advise MSCA for Ukraine fellows to talk to their academic mentor. As Lucia mentioned, within their host institution, fellows should have an academic supervisor and also a non-academic mentor. So I would advise the fellow to talk to their academic mentor and non-academic mentors about funding opportunities that may be available to help them stay within their host institution. I think the host institution itself would probably be best placed to advise on that. Beyond the host institution, I would advise looking at the MSCA for Ukraine web pages on the SAR Europe website. There is a list of resources there of alternative funding opportunities, both in national contexts, but also at the European level. So that information might be useful. Science for Ukraine is also another very useful resource which collects funding and fellowship opportunities around the world for Ukrainian researchers. And I can drop the links for these websites into the chat. So yeah, and I suppose also I would encourage you to reach out to the MSCA for Ukraine team at SAR Europe if you need any further assistance.
Thank you very much, Sarah. Speaking of finding career opportunities for scholars at risk, and as a continuation even as well, Svetlana, maybe listening to your talk, I would like to ask you a little bit more about the Euraccess Refugees Hub. How do you think can we work together? Do we need to find a national representative? How can universities work closer with the Euraccess Refugees Hub? Any information, advice?
For now, we are still preparing our toolkit that will be published online, and that will be a main point of contact for the whole community and for possible refugees and researchers at risk. But until now, while we were in the preparation period, we, for many years, worked even without a formal structure since the very first project in 2016 about refugee researchers integration. And this was the first of a kind at that time, the Bridge 1 project, then with the internship program, and currently we also offer an internship program for through the hub for the researchers that are already based here in Europe, refugees or even scholars at risk, but without a refugee status. This funding program is not very big, like the SAFE project program, for instance. It offers, however, funds as 1 month salary, average salary for the country, for up to 6 months. And this program is oriented towards cooperation with industrial and public sector, everything that is outside academia. So we fund SMEs, we provide funding to national galleries and other type of galleries, museums, hospitals, and this kind of organizations, so that could hire for a probation period a researcher for up to 6 months. And this is prepared like that, and it was oriented like that towards outside academia, because our experience in our projects and the colleagues you as well, you can share your impressions, but usually, as you can see, even in Maria Curie for Ukraine, there are high number of applications. It is only for Ukrainians, and very small part of them could be funded through it. What we do with the rest? As I said, also it is the case in Bulgaria. We have to look outside academia because these are highly qualified specialists, and we need to look for solution for integrating them in the European labor market in other career paths, also in research, but not necessarily in academia, where it is highly competitive European academic funding.
Thank you, Svetlana. Let's continue. Lucia, we have another 5 minutes, you think, to answer some questions? Yeah? Okay. So
Yeah.
there are two issues that need to be discussed. I see we have questions about fellowships and how, what are different scholarships right now. We will answer that very soon. The SAFE project is a new project, which right now, of course, the application's just finished, I think, so we can talk to you about that. And it's for scholars outside of EU or maybe residing in EU after they left their country where they were in danger. But I think one of the questions that have popped up from Claudia Jacob, and it's a very difficult question. I know it's very difficult to define what is a scholar at risk. Would either Sarah or Lucia try to answer that? Defining the at-risk status of a researcher is always difficult, but if you would have any recommendations or any information about that, Sarah, Lucia?
Yeah, so I can come in there, and yeah, as you say, Alexandros, it is a difficult question to answer.
Yeah.
At Scholars at Risk, we provide protection services for scholars and researchers who are fleeing their country of origin. So our risk criteria that we apply in terms of our protection services is if a scholar has experienced very recently a direct risk, usually a threat of violence or harm to the individual, threat of arrest or imprisonment, harassment or intimidation, or a general physical risk arising from an active conflict within their country. So that's how we would prioritize researchers at risk who are looking for our support services. Of course, we have very large numbers of scholars at risk applying for our support. So that is the definition that we use. And we also like to ensure that if a researcher comes to us looking for a placement within Europe or elsewhere, that they have a very good chance of securing that placement within our network and our membership. So that's another kind of criteria that we would apply. But I'll stop there in case Lucia wants to add anything else.
It's quite similar here at Cara. We provide support for those who have either they hold a PhD or they have experience within a research institute. And we obviously assess each application on a case-by-case basis. But we would generally define academics at risk as those who are facing immediate risk in their home countries, whether it be persecution, imminent risk of imminent imprisonment, injury, death, anything along those lines is our general approach to what we mean by academics at risk.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I think we need to wrap up. We have to clarify that both these projects that we have been working for, the Inspire Europe Plus project, have been predominantly as regards creating a safe space for researchers at risk with different actions. They never had per se scholarships for researchers at risk. Well, that's what we've been trying to do at the European level. And that's why we now are happy that projects as MCA for Ukraine, the SAFE project are available. So these are the projects that give scholarships. And we do hope that there will be national level scholarships in the future as well. I would like to thank you everyone for being part of this important webinar. And I would like to finish by just giving an announcement about the next Inspire Europe workshop that we're going to be doing in Thessaloniki. Of course, we will send you this information very soon, but I would like to just share this. And I want this one. Yeah, okay. So please have a look at this workshop. We will send you this information. We will be discussing about important alternatives to working in academia as regards working with the industry and the private sector. We will be happy that we will also presenting new advancements and new policy recommendations from EUA, that is a partner of Inspire Europe project, national recommendations for EU and national governments as well. And of course, we will be having the opportunity for people that were going to be there. Of course, it's a physical presence, but people can also be part virtually as well. Always being in person is much better because we do want to exchange information about how we can help universities from Southeastern Europe and beyond to be part of the Scholars at Risk network. And we hope to do that. I want to thank you, everyone. And I will say that looking outside of my window, it is a foggy weather and it is a foggy world that we live in, especially with the news that are happening around the world, the rise of nationalism, the rise of anti-immigration policies. We are here and we will be strong and we will continue helping. I think that's what we want to do. And thank you, everyone, for being part of this. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Svetlana. Thank you, Lucia. Thank you, Malamati, as well, for being behind the decks and being supportive of everyone. Thank you.
Thank you very
Thank you,
much.
everyone.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.